I work with an organisation called Talk About Art, which encourages children and teenagers to find and develop their creative confidence to help them build skills that they can use in all aspects of life and gives them an opportunity that they might not have access to normally. Okay, so I've got my image up. To open up an image, go File, Open, and then scroll down and try and find the image that you want to work with. So select your image and then click Open. So I'm going to start by cropping this dog head. So to use that, I'm going to go to this sidebar on the left and use the pen tool. And then I'm going to go around the edge of the object that you want to crop and take out. It's quite nice and easy to use as well, this pen tool, so you get the hang of it after a while. And then once you've finished, go to the right, there are some tabs over here, and go to Paths, and then click on this dotted circle at the bottom, and that selects the area that you've just highlighted. Edit Copy, and then I'm going to open up a new document, so File, New, and then I normally just work with A4, but you can choose whatever size you want, and you can choose portrait or landscape. So I'm just going to stick portrait, create, and then edit and paste, and then it will transfer onto this page. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger and hold down Shift to keep it in proportion as well, and drag the corner. So now I'm just going to go back onto the layers bar, and you can see this new layer has popped up, layer 1 of the dog, and you can play around with the opacity as well to see which you prefer. So now I'm going to add some colour to the background, and I'm going to create a new layer for that. So whenever you do something new, it's a nice idea to create a new layer so you can edit it more easily. So I'm going to use this brush tool on the left hand side. If you right click, then you can choose a whole range of different brushes, and it's quite some nice effects. I quite like this one, the watercolour one, and you can change the size of the brush as well, so small or large. Quite like working with large for backgrounds as well, because it just makes more sense. So yeah, there's a colour at the bottom, and I quite like using, first I'm going to deselect the area that I used before, so then when I come to eyedropper, this blue colour on the back wall, it's not picking up anything else. So yeah, it comes to the back, so just switch it to the front, so then the brush recognises it as a colour to use. So yeah, if you were just to go straight in, then it goes straight over the layer before. So I'm just going to switch the two layers around. So now when I draw, it will go behind the layer before, which I want in this case. Now I'm going to choose something else from the image to crop and join the others. So for this, I'm going to use the pen tool again. And people are quite interesting, I find, to using collages, as with paper collages as well. So you don't have to be too careful as well going around objects like this, because you can always edit it after. So go to Paths and then select the path that you just highlighted, edit copy, and then paste it onto the page with the others. Just going to move it down here and make it bigger so you can see. I'm going to go back into layers to make sure I'm working with the right layer. So yeah, if you just drag it without holding shift, it kind of warps it. So to keep it in proportion, just hold down shift whilst you enlarge it and drag it. And then once you're done, so this time I'm going to show you how to get rid of the background. Also, these eye tabs on the right show you which layers you're working with, so you can tell. It disappears when you click on it, so you know which layer is which, and to make sure you're working on the right one. Okay, so to get rid of the background, I'm going to use the eraser tool in the left toolbar on the left. And you can play around with the size again to make it smaller, bigger. I think it's easier to work with when it's smaller, so you can get more detail and get rid of smaller bits. So I'm just going around the foot as well. And then now I'm going to show you another process of getting rid of bits that you don't want as well. I'm going to use this lady. So I'm going to select her again using the pen tool. I'm going quite quickly, but you don't need to go this fast. And then go to paths and the dotted circle, edit copy, and paste it with the rest. Just going to move her down here so you can see better and enlarge her. And this time I'm going to show you how to get rid of this blue space. Yeah, just make sure you're on the right layer. This blue space in between her arms. So I'm going to use the lasso tool, which is on the left, and this is just a freehand one. Once you've selected it, backspace, and that'll get rid of the area that you want. Or you can use this other lasso tool as well, which creates straight lines rather than a freehand. So it's quite good for straight edges and stuff like that. And then backspace again to get rid of it. So now I'm going to add a background behind the ladies, and I quite like using textures from the image itself. So in this case I'm going to use the road, so I'm going to select a segment of the road using the lasso tool again. So I'm just going to get this bit, and then I'm going to turn it into a brush preset. So if you just go up to the top, if you go into edit, I think, yes, edit. Get there eventually, yeah, there you go. Edit, and then define brush preset. And then you can rename your brush so you know which one's which. So I'm just going to name it Road. Click OK, and then, yeah, pops up. It kind of looks like a stamp. So click on the layer that you want to put it on, so the background, and then once you click it, I'm just going to change the colour actually because it's still on the blue, so if you change it back to black. And you can change the size like with the brushes, like normal brushes and stuff as well. So for backgrounds I quite like it big. So I'm going to stick to this size. And you can layer it on top as well, which is quite nice. And play around with offsets. And you can change the opacity like with the normal brushes as well. So you can have a experiment with that. And another thing I like to do is adding marks on top of existing marks, so creating layers. So I'm going to add some more using this brush, which I use a lot as well. It's a nice, gives a nice texture and mark. and I'm going to eyedropper another colour from the photo. So I'm just going to use the actual road colour. Don't forget to deselect as well whenever you do anything else. And then I'm going to go back onto the brush and create another layer, which is quite nice because you can still see the road underneath, so it's not totally covering it. And then once you've finished, or feel like you've finished and you're happy with it, then go ahead and save it. So it's just File, Save As. If you'd like to find out more information about the organisation, head to talkaboutart.co.uk and have a look at the range of activities and training they do on there. They also have a Facebook page, so keep an eye out for updates on there too.